Thank you, Senor Rosso. Yeah, glad to be here. I apologize for being away for so long, but I had some psychological issues to deal with, and so I'm very happy to be part of this group and discussion at the moment. Intentions are to contribute to the discussion and try to kind of share my own experience so that I can at least provide some practical example of issues that might come up for others. Distractions are uh, uh, the fact that I'm taking a new medication, which might contribute to this, but might be removing. And again, my cat is always a distraction. So, um, and I will pass to Irene.
Good morning. My intentions. I want to join. First, I'm really curious about what is your work in research, and I want to orient towards that and to see how can I contribute. And my intention right now is of curiosity. And my distractions, I feel really distracted because I haven't had breakfast today. So I'm like, oh, I'm missing something. But I have my coffee now. And thank you.
Okay, I think I'm the only one missing. My intention is to sync with you guys to advance a little bit on these psychological research efforts that we are doing, and also to contextualize some and share some information that we have received that is very interesting towards our purpose. Hey Brian, this call we are talking about a psychology research that we are doing, and you're welcome. If you want, you can also open your mic and give a brief introduction, and if not, it's totally fine too. Um, well, the intention of this psychological research group is that we understand that these online environments that we live in can make us feel a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, and that there are a lot of positive sides on this decentralized environment, but it also proposes certain challenges, like that people work more than if they had like a regular job, because we bring work to our home, and we work without schedules, and also that there are so many time zones that and so many things to do that it's easy to overload ourselves. So this is a common issue from a lot of DAOs, and for that um this group called Talent DAO proposed this survey to understand the health of the DAO, and my intention was to discuss this with Bianca and with Anna, that are the people that are leading these efforts, so that we can apply this tool to our community and identify patterns of things that we can improve, and also try to repeat it also to see how are the changes that we see from the actions that we can take from the data that we gather. So I downloaded here the document. It's an Excel, so I will stop streaming and start streaming again.
So is the survey based on the health of a DAO in general, or based on the health of the individual?
I think it reflects the ecosystem, but the main idea and the main questions are targeted to the individual. So here we can have like these first three questions are individuals, and it's like these two first are of belonging, and it's like I feel a sense of belonging at this DAO. I identify myself as a member of this DAO.
This looks awesome. This is really neat.
Yeah, and
Sharing
in the
this.
past few months, I've experienced feelings of burnout. And here it also has like the scale of responses. Why I like to have this tool, um, that it's not made from us, because one, it helps us to save resources on building a new tool, and two, if other organizations apply this same tool, we can have compared results, and we can compare data between different organizations. So I liked that we found this tool, and this is going to be like one of the applications of this psychological research, where we will gather some data from the community, and yeah, identify patterns, and try to see what areas maybe we can continue working on. Also, this document is on the GitHub that I shared, so everyone can have access to it if you would like to study it more in depth. Um,
Are we gonna Are we gonna have a central place to drop responses? Do we need to create some sort of disclaimer or something that in order to aggregate responses or to share them with each other?
um, I think this is something that I am not an expert at, because I know that there are good things of having like a type form, but there are also good things of having a Google map, and there is also good things of making like a HubSpot form. So um, I don't have any preference regarding the tool that we're going to use to apply the survey, but more I am concerned of the content of the survey. And I downloaded this some days ago, but I haven't gone through all of the questions. So I was like thinking if we could become more familiar with this tooling, and also have some consent um, around if we would like to apply this tooling. Also, um, yeah, I see that there are a lot of information here, and I am just like getting familiar to the document. But yeah, I am also opening the agenda if there's other topics that you would like to discuss.
I mean, I suppose I could just offer the idea of like just I guess framing the different types of challenges that we might have faced, but without being familiar with this document, it or this tool, it might address those uh, already. But I guess just to volunteer some aspects wouldn't hurt either, and if they apply later, then they apply later. But um, so, like just as an example, one of the main difficulties that I face psychologically would be imposter syndrome, which is essentially feeling like you don't belong to a group, even though you might have ostensible, reasonable, and rational reasons why you would typically belong. Psychologically, you still feel like you do not, and it's typically framed within the idea that you definitely do belong, but for some reason you don't, or you've accomplished something inside a field that means that you obviously do belong. But for me in particular, I really haven't accomplished anything that I feel imposter syndrome around. So I might be an imposter syndrome, which is maybe a different weird thing than all of them together. But yeah, that's one example.
It would be interesting to know what are the main things that can produce sense of belonging. Um, yeah, I think that a mission, vision, values are like a guiding principle, but at the same time, even though that we have like all this onboarding journey and we make these so frequent calls, how can we increase the sense of belonging of people that enter to our community? And
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
no, that I also shared the link not only to this survey, but a mirror that explains the tool, and it goes more in depth on how the survey was built. So yeah, you can we can still also have a look at that document to understand better this survey.
Brilliant, thank you. That's awesome. That'll be super helpful too. Yeah, in with respect to what you said with like the onboarding journey and feeling belonging and the different parameters that are the different factors that contribute to a sense of belonging. One thing that jumps out, as you mentioned, the mission, vision, values, and like the cultural build that uh, kind of creates the rationale for the community and how it's structured. It can tend to create it's sort of a either a barrier to entry or something like an entry cost, like an opportunity cost of requiring a certain amount of time before you gain familiarity enough to feel like you can participate actively in the culture, and that amount of time, that necessary contribution to learning the culture, um, can vary wildly from individual to individual because it's not, there is no point at which anybody can freely say, well, I understand the culture enough to contribute. Some people might just start jumping in right away, which is great. That's kind of probably ideal, but other people might not contribute ever because they're terrified that they may be stepping out of line or be in violation of the culture. And so trying to kind of actively tell people to not worry about putting their foot in their mouth or stepping out of line or anything along those lines would be really ideal. Trying to help people feel like they belong straight away, no matter what.
Hi there.
Hey,
Heard
Durga.
us?
We have a gravity meeting now?
um Bianca had the intention of moving the psychology call on to Mondays,
Oh, I see.
but I just uh like took into consideration that the calendar hasn't been changed and that there are some people in the call,
Hmm.
and I think that we can have this session talking about psychology.
Hmm.
And yeah, we were talking about sense of belonging, about and Jean was saying something really cool about how the boundaries that we are building as mission, vision, values um can serve as enabling constraints for the people who is actively involved in the community, but at the same time can be like um, stopping constraints or negative constraints towards the people that is just entering and have to have like a deep understanding of what we're doing in order to feel that they belong to the community. What do you think about this?
Um, well, mission, vision, values is a bit 100 years ago. I know we've had, like, so like, if we want to be, I think the same as I don't know, Pfizer, you know what I'm saying? Like, or like Standard Oil has a mission, vision, and values. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so like, I don't know. I mean, that's, I'm not saying that, you shouldn't have those things, but in the website work, I think unique value proposition is the primary thing. I don't know if you guys have seen, the work that I'm doing, but so it's also true that I have some interest in psychology, and so I'm not sure where to come down on this, but I was actually kind of hoping that we might, um, do the unique value proposition, which we have to do. I think for me, the way that I kind of work with this is I think I've sent the this thing that I call a focus matrix um, in the past, so that can help to sort out what's going on. But yeah, I yeah, I'm not sure exactly what to say. Are we talking about psychology now, or are we talking about vision, mission, values? Um,
Yeah, I mean, along those lines, where you're saying with the focus matrix, or just the kind of the antiquated nature of something like a mission, vision, values.
yeah,
I mean, there's we talk about the cultural build, but there's something definitely to be gained from kind of considering a countercultural build
yeah,
in a way.
yeah, exactly.
You know, the,
Yeah.
the
Yeah, and that's what I'm basically suggesting is,
yeah,
for me, the idea is gravity brings us together. So what are the principles that would keep us together, right? So that's why I bought a lot of books. Like Aloysius has, recommended this Beyond Inclusion, Beyond Empowerment. I've, in the gravity thing before, the thing that's the graphic that I made about gravity, that is uh, the gravity Dow components, which we're basically talking about, um, you know, making now. I've got on the outside of this radical inclusion, around the outside, So
brilliant.
so from my perspective, we've got a vision, mission, and values. I've got it sitting right here. You know what I mean? I feel like you can build this off of these four principles, right? And then just kind of work your way around it. It could be that we've added a bunch of things since then, right? But I don't know. I just feel like you know some of the things that we're asked to do, like this DAO to DAO and human resources and onboarding. I've got a company that actually does this. That I know, internal messaging management. So we have, some power over the Discord, in Token Engineering Commons. So I do feel like, you know, in terms of vision, mission, values, I've got it summarized pretty well here. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a matter of how to, that and this, right? In terms of how to interact with each other, and so I don't know. Yep.
Good point.
Hmm. Right. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Yeah, I do think that there's a few things that we're. By the way, this is I think if you look at here, basically I have this thing I call the who what matrix. Basically what it does is it inventories everything that you want to do down the side and kind of groups it. So this is for my yoga studio. So I've got different things that people think yoga is, right? Different things I want to teach. And then I've got who I'm talking to across the top, and then I'm able to map the content with these X's, to everybody who's here. But the cornerstone of this entire thing is the unique value proposition. So I think, when we're talking about purpose, right, that's kind of where this comes to. So if I'm talking about that, that's what I've got here, right, in terms of, what's the unique value proposition, what's the brand positioning statement. There's a template here for unique value proposition. Um, and we should kind of what I'm saying is that we can use some of these questions about vision and mission and values to start talking about what to put in the website, because everything about designing a website at the beginning is to tell our story, right? So it's not you have to be able to catch people in the first 5 seconds or whatever. That's true. At the same time, there are other mechanisms that are cultural stuff that we do, and the ways that we go about doing things. You want to grab people at first, right? And then what do you do after that? Do you know what I mean? So I've got a kind of template where I can um, work with this process. So I agree that we need to have these conversations. I would like to leverage the energy behind talking about this stuff into something that actually we can use for um, you know generating the website so I can make good decisions on behalf of the group, right, in terms of how to represent what we're saying. And I've got a couple of templates as to how to go about doing that, with my normal methodology. That I work with all of my clients basically in this similar kind of way, and it's very effective. So I don't mean to derail the freewheeling conversation, but I do want to see if there's any way we can, focus it in such a way that we can end up capturing, what's here. So there's a focus matrix that I'd like to kind of work with in terms of, what different people that we could talk to, and then what different stuff. So generally the first form of this takes place in terms of just doing a brain dump about all the different things that we want to do, right? So almost entirely we're going to have very similar kinds of things, right? So if we're gonna do a what, we should probably include all the basic things. So we are probably going to end up teaching something. So we may have classes and or workshops, and potentially in person or online. We should create guides and probably have a blog and a calendar and an email newsletter and all of these things, right? So we don't have facility rental because that's just for my building, all right? You know what I'm saying, right? So then you can add other stuff in here. So we'll have a book club. What else did we have in here before? So NBC practice group, right? So things like this.
Yeah, I also want to pass the mic to Irene because she's a new voice in our group, and this call is being a little bit informal.
Yeah,
But
sorry.
also, I want
I have to
to.
go in 10 minutes, so I was talking a lot at the beginning too.
No, don't worry. And I think this what you're saying is super valuable, and that we can spend some time hacking on this matrix. But
Yeah,
also,
so I just wanted to get you the link so that you guys could start adding stuff in, right?
yeah, sure, please.
And take the energy of that. So I'll put this in gravity.
Yeah, I wanted to know on Irene what is her point of view about the psychology that we are reproducing in the Web3 space, and what are some of your concerns regarding the psychology in these spaces?
Okay. I think that what I am not that experienced in Web3 because I step aside for a while. So I the last few months I came back. I was like really into the edge of what was happening a few years back, and then right now I came back as I spend all my time as therapist, and I'm coming back with the things that I have gathered in the way, and I noticed that there's a huge difference. It's like different universes that people are into. So there is this mean full of trolls space, and there's this other space that is full of people trying to create a new thing, a new structure, a new way of working, a new way of relating, and that. So I have been only in contact with this part of the neighborhoods, like people are really nice. Everyone is really trying to do a different world. So I'm going to focus only on this side of the Web3, and what I notice is a really deep interest and need to know how online and digital interaction and connections can be deep and true for what our human needs are. And there are some executives that they are not that tech savvy, so they say like there cannot be that kind of interaction. And I have seen what the creation of the field, the design of the field can do to human lives on digital space. So I'm really interested in that because there's a deep link in how we manage organizations, how we manage economy, and how we manage these online groups with the inner development of the self and the inner value. Like if you have these lifting tokens, they go inside and create a lifting in your own value, because we are representing our relationships in the tokens. They are just a visible part of an inner part. And in organizations, we are expressing our attachment issues and needs. They are really deep. So there are some core elements that we should take knowledge of. And I think you're doing a great job. This space, I really have been enjoying it. It's really humane. It's really inclusive. Um, I know there's always a space to better things, but I think this DAO is on the right path. I really like it. So the things that I see, the onboarding is going really good, and it's something really needed in terms for people to know how to contribute and belong. But there's maybe a few steps that we could add to it. That's what I see. Um, I see that what he said about including guides and education, that is really uh, amazing, because we all need this part of culture creation, that field design, uh, that influences in bringing up our best selves, the best that we can do. And it also helps into bring up our best way that we can contribute. So I have been flirting around this
Are you talking
organization
about this? This
about what you mentioned.
I was basically saying that this step 2 here is that educational psychological break from the old abusive system into decentralized autonomous organizations. And for me, the psychology and the trauma informed and all these things all comes directly into step 2 so that we can make a transition, between the old way of doing things and this new way of doing things. So for me, I contextualize the work that you guys are doing and the psychological work that I'm trying to work in the psychosocial into the second section. So I've got to go, but I just wanted to pop in and say that, and hope we can have further discussions about this unique value proposition and where this all fits and all this stuff, so that I can make the website that's awesome for you guys. So thank you.
Thanks, Durgadas, and also sync with Aloysius that I think they're working also on something like this, so they can give you
Yeah,
good feedback for the page.
yeah, I've worked with
Good, John.
Streamer a little bit and let him know about that already. we need to take what they've already done and kind of merge it into this
Nice.
spreadsheet so that we can get everything that we need. And then even if it isn't me making the website, which it will be, but what I'm saying is then you'll have an orienting document that says, oh, okay, these are the people who are supposed to see this, these are the people who are supposed to see that. And then when you're doing a HubSpot thing or you're doing a website thing, it's all congruent. It's all part of one coherent messaging thing, which we just have not had in the Token Engineering Commons. So I hope we can do that better in this. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Durgas. And
You made some really
yeah,
great points, Ernie.
Yeah, but I just want to add that what I really think that we could add that seems of a lot of value. There are some practices that bring the best place for people and that bring the best of what you have to give and to contribute in a really natural flowing way. So that could be something good for the process. For instance, I have the patience to be like for a few months. I have written things, and I went to a community call, and I went to so I go slow in my own pace, but I'm still orienting, seeing how can I contribute. I'm not like I don't go in like yeah this and no, it's not my style. So I try to figure out how things are, but everyone is different, right? So yeah, a few steps more in the beginning so people can contribute more easily. Yeah, thank you.
no, I totally agree with what you're saying. And um, yeah, one like really practical thing that we want to do, and it's what with what I started this call, is to apply a survey in our community to be able to identify patterns. And yeah, the first question of Jean was if it's going to be organizational or individual. But in this post, they are explaining that they like took a lot of time to build this tool to map what are some of the important things that a healthy organization could have. And for me, it wouldn't be surprising if we have really like alarming data, because what I feel and what I have seen in the space is that there's a lot of uh, unseen or untalked anxiety, and a lot of unseen or untalked um, stress. And I think that by applying this result, one thing that we can do is make visibility out of these things. And yeah, I invite you also to take a deeper read into this document and into this survey, because I think it's also something that we can take that other people is doing, um, and we don't have to like make it ourselves. Sometimes I see in these Web3 communities that there are a lot of like diverse groups that are overlapping and that are working on the same things. But it's always cool when we can um, take from what the others are doing and iterate with that, without having to like each one start from scratch.
That's an excellent point. That's really the biggest, in my opinion, benefit of this type of organizational structure is, utilizing the open source nature of software to apply things. I mean, you're right that like similar to like the reward system, many people want to create their own. structure because they think they're coming at it in a different direction, and that's good. It's good to have many different perspectives on the same, a problem and approach it from different directions. But this aspect of taking what somebody has freely made and freely offered and using that tooling is really, really beneficial. Like you said, just from the general applicability of being able to, compare apples to apples from other people's data and understanding. Something that I wanted to mention from uh, what Irene was saying about the different types of approach in Web3 in terms of people on one side kind of being mean and trolly, and then something on the other side, like what we're trying to foster here, where there's a certain amount of explicit kindness and inclusivity and welcoming. But there's, I kind of want to emphasize that there is a sort of a gray area in between there where that's kind of something important if for gravity that that we make space for the taboo in a way such that nothing is taboo, and so it's not particularly nothing. Like in my opinion, the outright trolling and mean or denigrating, or there's no place for that. But in terms of, say, I don't know, like kind of what I was talking about earlier with the countercultural, where there is no, that we shouldn't be afraid of allowing people to be kind of diametrically opposed to the culture that we're building, because if there's not a space for that type of discussion in gravity, then where is that space? Why? How will we, if we're truly trying to be honest about building a great culture, then where are we going to find the holes in that culture if we don't really make space for people to tell us what's wrong with it and adjust it on the fly? So
Yeah, that what you're saying just blew my mind and made me think a lot, because like if we are thinking that we are all the same, we are making a first division when we draw that line of who is like a region and who is a degen.
exactly.
And by making that idea, we are also making a polarization. We are not being able to unite the people, but we are saying, okay, this is a gap, and this is what I do, and this is what you do. So how can we make it more integrative? Also, because the people who is degen, I refuse to think that they are bad per se. I think that they are people that, because of the gains of their actions, continue reproducing an idea that somehow serves their needs without having a further or a deeper look as a community. But yeah, I agree that denying that or excluding that people is not the way to actually do something about it, or um, work with them. So we will continue only by segregating or by excluding, creating this shadow that and this division that doesn't allow us to work together.
Exactly. I really like the way you frame it with the shadow, because that's really what it is. Go ahead, Ernie.
What I'm thinking is that When I think about those things, I don't think about the people, I think about the space. It's like when you're in a neighborhood it's really pretty, your behavior is one. And if you're in an ugly neighborhood, your behavior is different. And if you are in a space where you are heard, your reaction is one. And if you are in a space hostile, your reaction is another. So I think more about the design of the field of the space more than people.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about the people, it's about the ideas that they're adhering to, or that the shape, this, like you say, the space, the shape of the space allows for, and drives people towards. In a way, political correctness is, holding, us back in a way. But it's I like the way that Irene framed it better. It's the shape of the space. It's, like water. The cup or the vase or the container is, the water is going to be shaped, based on the structure of what's being able to be filled. And so yeah, she makes a good point. It's not the people, it's the ideas, and it's the space. Because people change. We have the ability to shape them. We have the
I,
ability to shape their minds.
I have learned so much in this call because, um, yeah, for me, it has always been like clear this difference of people that Irene mentioned in the space, that there's people that is only like interested in making money, and also people who is interested in making change. But at the same time, all of those end up reflecting an agenda. And when we position in one side, we also somehow create a shadow on the other side. So by us calling us ourselves regions, we are immediately creating degens, and that division isn't allowing us to see ourselves as one, and also to integrate different agendas and different interests.
Yeah, when it's projecting it onto people that may not, it likely is never really applicable. Nobody is really the way that somebody else sees them, in a way. I mean, yeah, it's about what you
And
feel inside.
also, like, degen people is not bad per se. They just have different ways of behavior. But or yeah.
The culture of it, the tongue in cheek nature of the trolling, or of the I'm on the in crowd, so I know what it's really like, versus the other side of that, is it doesn't help disambiguating anything. If anything, it contributes to the ambiguity of what the actual positions are, and what the actual, shape of the space is, to where nobody really knows what anybody else is talking about. They just kind of want to act like they know what anybody else is talking about, because the more that you feel like you act like you're part of the group, you kind of hide it. And this also goes towards, in a way, that something that I've been meaning to talk about, which is the pseudonymity, that, the anonymous nature of crypto transactions doesn't help anything, in my mind. It only creates a space for disingenuous positions, and the ability to kind of speak out of both sides of your face, which is not helpful to the end goal, in my mind. It only creates that ambiguity, and yeah, that
Yeah,
creates that cultural change.
we can have like a lot of code switches, and I can present myself as a troll in a troll community, and also present myself as a region in a region community. But also, I think that troll people tend to be people with a lot of trauma. So I also think that by including them in our culture, we can help them to overcome that trauma. And as you said, Jean, like use their creativity for other things, and change, because if we continue dividing between regions and trolls, um, we will never embrace and be able to include or to change the mind, or to that other people. And like in logics, that is called sine qua non, and it's a relationship um that is created because of the other, like being a parent. You cannot be a parent if you don't have a son. So you cannot call yourself a region if you are not identifying controls. And yeah, maybe that discourse um, also continues reflecting some old political agenda that we can identify like as left or right, and is continuing perpetrating um, an abusive system, and not an inclusive or an integrative system.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. The old paradigms are, we need to work from the middle out. We need to push the middle to where that division between left and right starts to disappear, and we push back against that divisive nature until the extremes don't exist anymore, and that everybody's just in the center. I don't think that people, that want to be divisive by nature. I think that it's a response, like trying to be, clever in a critique, and so that's what a troll is trying to be, clever and pushing and saying something against a position, and so if we give them the space to, like you say, to use their creativity for something better, then I think they'll feel included,
There is also people that can call themselves region but act as a degen.
sure.
So it's also some nominalities that really they don't mean anything. And we can see that there are a lot of people that call themselves, that participate in the region movement, but also are making projects where they are making themselves rich, um, without first putting the mission of the project. So it's a very interesting discussion we had today. I really loved to have initiated this call with you guys.
Likewise, I enjoyed this very much. This was very informative. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Anka. Thank you also.
Yeah, I want to thank your presence and to the space to hear me out and to ask for my opinion. That was really sweet. Thank you.
No, thank you guys for coming to this call, for your time, for your presence, for your attention, for your comments, and also keep in the loop, because we will be practicing this survey as one of the practical things to identify patterns of our ecosystem health.
I was reading it and it's really lovely. And maybe we could add some lines for people that don't know how to contribute or don't know their space in the DAO.
Of course, yeah. I think that this call will be moved to Mondays, so we'll continue working on Mondays with Bianca.
Thank you, Anka. Thank you, everybody.
Right, you know, calendar.
Bye.
Thanks. See you later.
Bye.